Hello, friends. Chris Coursey here, president of Thrive Today, and I want to welcome you to the Relational Skills in Real Life podcast. Today's topic is on a very special skill. It's a skill that doesn't get a lot of airtime often, but it's a skill that touches so many other things and shows up in our lives and our relationships. And it is skill 16, recognizing our energy states. Are we high energy responders? Are we low energy responders? And friends, there's a lot of good reasons and a lot of value in recognizing this, because basically this is a skill that helps us recognize what we need in order to feel close with God, in order to find some peace when we've lost our peace, or what other people need when they've lost their peace or they need some connection with God. It's a skill that I use every day in my life, and half the time I don't even realize it, but I'm reading the room with the people that I know, and I start to recognize, what do they need? Do they need some activity? Do they need some movement, some engagement, or do they need some space or some rest? And when we understand this skill, we can create the connection that we long for. So recognizing our energy response styles really helps us learn the pattern that our brain and our nervous system relies on for homeostasis. And you see, the autonomic nervous system has an accelerator and it has a brake where we speed up or we slow down. And the past number of years, there's been a lot of material on the vagal nerve and the role of the vagal nerve and its pathways, the ventral and the dorsal vagal pathways. Stephen Porges is one of the fellows who's done a lot of writing and research, and he's the researcher that actually came up with the theory, the vagal nerve theory, or what's known as the polyvagal theory. And this focuses on what happens in our body when we feel safe or we sense danger. And another researcher and author, Deb Dana, has also created some books and exercises. And she really simplifies things with what she calls the autonomic ladder. And this is where she focuses on the three physiological states: the parasympathetic ventral vagal state, which just is where connection happens. This is where creativity grows. And she talks about the sympathetic state, which is where we sense danger and we get that boost of energy and adrenaline to fight or to flee from a threat. Then we have the dorsal vagal state, which is where we shut down, we freeze, like all the lights turn off, so to speak. Now, our focus for today really is going to be on looking at the solutions you prefer for connection. Do you prefer high energy or do you prefer the low energy? Those of us who are sympathetic responders, we often have our foot on the accelerator. We're high energy people. We like things that get our adrenaline going. We jump off cliffs into the water. We jump out of airplanes. We love to exercise. We love to move and run and play pickleball and all kinds of good stuff. So we like movement and we feel our best selves when we're doing something. Some of us, however, are the low energy responders. And while we might enjoy high energy activities here and there, we actually gravitate toward low energy things such as quiet time to connect with God, soft music, finding a good window to sit by and sip on our tea. So people who are high energy responders, they gravitate toward movement and activity. They want to feel close to God. People who are low energy responders, they want to kick back with a warm cup of something and rest and journal and read and pray. So when it comes to this particular skill, we can recognize whether we're high energy or low energy responders by asking a few questions. One of the questions is, what type of music, worship music, do you prefer? Some of us like the worship music where you stand up, you raise your arms, your heart rate starts going, you feel the beat of the music, and you like to move, right? So we gravitate toward high energy sights and sounds and movement and music. Those of us who are low energy will prefer the low energy music, soft music, soothing music. We like to stay in our seat and we just like to listen and enjoy it. And that actually matches what our nervous system craves. Another question we can ask is, how do I respond to shame? So those of us who are high energy responders, if we feel some shame, we tend to take it out on other people. So we get upset, maybe angry, and we maybe even lash out at other people, or we get this burst of energy when we feel some shame and we want to get away from it. But those of us who are low energy responders, when we feel some shame, we tend to take it out on ourselves, whereas high energy responders take it out on other people. Those of us who are low energy responders, we actually take it out on ourselves. We say, oh, what? I can't believe I did this. What a failure I am. Oh, this shame is just going to smother me. And we just lose our energy. We want to lay down, stay in bed. We sulk. We just don't have the energy or the bandwidth to engage. Whereas the high energy responders, what a failure you are. I can't believe you did this. And we tend to take it out on others. So skill 16 really helps us understand solutions for what people need when they lose their peace and their joy. And I see this very clearly in my sons. I have a son who's high energy. He gravitates towards activity and movement. He often has a lot of energy. Before he can quiet, he has to go run around the house a few times or go do something or run on the treadmill. It's actually hard for him to enter the low energy state without first burning off some energy. So for him, feeling close to God happens when he's riding his bike or he's running or he's playing or he's doing something. Whereas my other son is very low energy. So when it's been a hard day, my low energy son might want to sit and talk or snuggle with mom. Um, Connection happens with low energy activities. Not that he can't do high energy activities, but he craves the low energy. And the same is true with my wife, Jen, and I. She gets her homeostasis, her peace back by engagement and by connecting and talking and sharing. I get my peace back by quieting, listening, calming, finding a little quiet space. So some of us like the stimulation, others avoid the stimulation. Some of us need to burn energy before we get our peace. Some of us just need to find peace through low energy activities. And so recognizing this helps to create safety and deeper engagement because you now have the language for what you need as well as what the people around you need, because you can also recognize what people gravitate toward. It might be hard. Sometimes people like high energy and low energy. Sometimes it's a learned response, right? So sometimes I come across as high energy because that's just part of the pain that I've had in my life. The reality is I gravitate toward low energy stuff. So we will see these patterns. Do people gravitate toward movement or silence and rest? And I've seen this working with people as well in the healing journeys. Some of my clients prefer quieting in a nice, quiet, low energy state, soft prayer, maybe soft music. Some of my clients need high energy activity. And so they want to go for a walk and we'll talk with Jesus during the walk. So I've had clients that want to go sit on the beach. Meet me at the beach for an hour and let's have some time. Other people like, hey, I'm going to go, let's go bike riding. Let's go walking. Let's go walking on a trail. Let's move. So it really helps to understand what people need. Are you someone that needs movement and activity, or are you someone that gravitates toward low energy, deep breathing kinds of things? The reality is not everyone speaks the same language. Some of us need connection. Some of us need movement. Some of us need rest and silence. Some of us want the high energy music. Some of us want the low energy music. And when we use the wrong solution for people, they end up not feeling peaceful about the whole thing. And they will often struggle trying to connect with God. So if quiet works for me, but you're a high energy responder, trying to use my method actually will not work well for you. So it helps to understand what is the language that people speak and how can we meet them where they're at? How can we identify what they need and help them find those solutions? Friends, this lens is so helpful. Like you start to get to know people, you'll quickly recognize what they need and what helps them find peace and homeostasis. So what I would encourage you to do is take time practicing both options and see what you notice. Do you feel God's peace when you're moving and running and walking or writing, or do you feel God's peace better when you're sitting and being still with soft music playing? Try both and see what you notice. over time, and even see what you can recognize in other people and talk to other people about what they prefer. Because when we know the right solutions, we help people find that peace and that joy. I wrote a great book called Transforming Fellowship that talks about the 19 skills. It talks about this particular skill. On our website, thrivetoday.org, we talk about skill 16. You can watch the video and see more to understand this skill. This skill is woven throughout our Thrive trainings and helping people recognize which option works best for them. Friends, have some fun, practice, experiment with this skill, and see what grows.